Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. I would take Jurgen Klopp and Mo Salah at Manchester United. I would. And I tell you what, we're going to get into why, because I think I've seen a video clip that came up in my mentions last night when I was on the way back from a wedding, and it was about something I said a year ago when I was on the kickoff about I would take Brendan Rodgers at Manchester United, and I listened to it, and I've dropped the link in the video description if you want to check it afterwards. I listened to it, and what an eye-opener to I'm repeating the same things a year ago about books not being written, and I want to see what the final chapter is with Ollie a year later. But also the brilliance of Salah, this real title race. We're going to be talking Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, the lot. But first of all, let me just say, the show today is sponsored by Top 11. I love a bit of Top 11. Top 11 is a free-to-play football management mobile game for iOS, Android and web browser in which you can get to run every aspect of your own football club from the ground up. So if you think you could do a better job than the Glazers, wouldn't be hard, Stan Kroenke, John Henry, then it's time for you to step up and prove yourself. Maybe you'll end up a legend, or maybe you'll end up as the local villain taking lots of dividends. Top 11 is a cross-platform mobile game. Using the one account, you can play the game anywhere, anytime on your iOS or Android phone, and also on your desktop computer when you're meant to be answering work emails. You have complete control over your club. That means you can make the decisions around tactics, player management, your club stadium, and even the club logo. There's even a 24/7 live transfer market in which you can bid for players. This is where you can build your team and take it to the next level. Finally, as nothing good should be enjoyed alone, Top 11 is a social media game where you can take on your mates and other players from around the world in real time to find out who really has the skills to pay the football manager bills. So what are you waiting for? Hit the link in the description and start your Top 11 journey today. Big shout out to Top 11 for it. And of course, it's the international break. So what better time to get your football fix? Playing Top 11 as a football manager there. So links in the video description for it. Give it a go. You can play with your mates. You can play with yourself. Right. Let's get into the show. And a big shout out to Top 11. I love it. As you know, I sometimes sit and play it while we're doing watch-alongs. But let's talk about the weekend. Let's talk about that statement. So I would take Klopp and Salah at Manchester United. First of all, boo-hoo if that upsets you. Because at the end of the day, we're living in a world where you want to win titles. Now, I don't want a Liverpool manager and I don't want Liverpool's best player in Mo Salah. But look, the situation United are in at the moment, why would a Manchester United fan or an Arsenal fan sit there and go, I'm going to be a loyal idiot and not take one of the best managers and best players in the world at my team with the right mentality? I'd rather stick with what we've been doing for the last 8 years in United's case, or 15 years in Arsenal's case. Of course, I would love Manchester United to have a manager like Jurgen Klopp and a world-class player like a Mo Salah. I believe Manchester United have got world-class players, but I don't believe we've got a world-class coach at the moment. Now, that doesn't mean I'm Ollie out, but it's really interesting because, look, Mo Salah, first of all, what a fantastic goal in a fantastic game. I love it. It reminded me of Hazard against Liverpool, but I think that was a Carabao Cup game, wasn't it, a few years ago when he did it at Anfield. But to do it in a game which was the game of the weekend, arguably the game of the season, because Liverpool against Man City is arguably the biggest game now. I mean, look, it's not the same as Arsenal United 20 years ago, and it's not the same as Liverpool United always is. They're the big games. But in relation to who are the two main title contenders, I still think Liverpool and Man City are, because they've won the titles the most recently. Obviously, Chelsea want to be part of that battle. I get that. So do United. But what a goal to score in a game like that. And I think that it amazes me that people don't want to acknowledge Mo Salah as one of the world's best players. I don't understand it. I don't know whether it's because he's not from Portugal or Brazil, or I don't know. But he's doing it year in, year out at Liverpool, title race, Champions League winner. I don't get it. And I'm a Man United fan. I don't want to say this about Liverpool players, but it was Messi-esque the way he did that. He's got a world-class left foot, and I just think he's a fantastic footballer, and it's very hard, but I think, deep down, Liverpool fans probably acknowledge this with certain United players over the last sort of 30 years. And I can certainly acknowledge it with Mo Salah, what a fantastic player he is. And I find it really surprising because obviously I don't like the shirt that he wears, but, sometimes I watch him and I think, oh, God, what a player. Exciting player. World-class player. So would I take Mo Salah at Manchester United? Well, I'll hold that thought for a moment. But what a player, and I think the title race is going to be very interesting between Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea. At the moment, United, look, 14 points from 21, 1 point from 6 at home when you're playing Villa and Everton. It ain't title race form. Hopefully we can get into that race, but at the moment that's not title race form. Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea, I think they'll be very content with the start to the season they've had. But look, it's going to be very interesting. Liverpool haven't managed to beat Chelsea and Man City at Anfield, and they've obviously got to go away. But then again, that might be replicated at Stamford Bridge and the Etihad when Liverpool go there. To me, I don't think Liverpool should be disappointed. I think it just shows that those three teams are going to be very, very competitive, and it's going to be a very, very interesting title race. But look, let me go back to this video of a year ago. Basically, as I said, I was on the kickoff as a guest, and I was asked a question by Brian, the link's in the video description, and it was like, what do I think of Solskjaer? And I said, look, of course I'd take Brendan Rodgers at Manchester United. And watching that video, I did say that, but what I was saying, I wouldn't sack Solskjaer. This is what I was saying a year ago. We're going through a bit of a bad run. I said, I wouldn't sack Solskjaer at this point, because to me, the book is still there to be written. I'm reading this book and I want to get to the end, and I don't think we're at the end yet. And Loz quite rightly said, but sometimes you're reading a book and you want to put it down. That was a year ago. The story for me should have moved along. I feel like this book that I'm reading about Solskjaer is a bit like if you're into Game of Thrones. You know, George Martin, he's been writing the next chapter of his book for feels like 50 years. He just never puts the next book out. And I feel like Ollie is becoming the George Martin of the literary world. And we are Game of Thrones, and he is the author. And instead of just completing the books, he won't complete it. And I think a year on, it's really interesting to look back on that video, because I'm saying exactly the same things. We're not where we need to be. I see the progress, and I want to see what the final chapter is. But a year on, we're stuck on the same part of the book. The story won't progress. We can't win a trophy. We're in the top four. We've got players enough to start challenging, but we're not. But I also feel we're probably not at that point yet. In fact, personally, hand on heart, we're not at that point yet where we can go, get out of our club. You're not good enough. I know some people would do that, but we're not. We are still very close to the top of the league. We did finish second, third the year before. We've just bought Ronaldo, Varane and Sancho. So I still think, you've got to give Solskjaer more time. But obviously, we know we're playing Liverpool and Man City in our next 4 games. I think we've got Leicester away, Liverpool at home, Spurs and then Man City. So tough test. Come out of that with 12 points. Everybody's happy. Coming out with that with a couple of losses, the trouble is really going to hit home, because Liverpool and Chelsea and Man City are going to win a few. Going to keep winning. Which comes back to my point. I would not sack Solskjaer at this moment in time. Would I take a Jurgen Klopp or a Pep Guardiola or a Thomas Tuchel at Manchester United? Yes, of course I would. That's my opinion. That's 100% honest. Of course I would. Why wouldn't I? I'm not really bothered about... For me, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the player, is a legend. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the manager... Look, I don't want to take Liverpool's manager at United, and there's no way Liverpool's manager's going to come to United. The same with the Man City and Chelsea manager. But if I had those managers available... as Manchester United, would I take them at Manchester United manager? Without the baggage of the clubs that they're at the moment. Of course, I want that, and I don't think people understand the statement. I'm not saying sack Solskjaer and get Klopp from Liverpool. What I'm talking about is that type of a coach. If that coach was available and they didn't, if Klopp was available and he'd never managed Liverpool, but he'd won the trophies. Imagine he'd won the title at Barcelona, and he won the Champions League at Barcelona, and his football style was totally, transferable to the Premier League. Whatever the scenario, I would want that type of a manager at my club. I would want a Pep Guardiola at my club. I would want a Thomas Tuchel at my club. Now, a year ago, I probably wouldn't have thought that, but where we are now, of course I would. And the reason is defined style of play, winning style of play, trophy winning mentality. And those 3 things are things where Solskjaer falls. He doesn't have a trophy-winning mentality. He doesn't have a winning mentality that's consistent. And he doesn't have an identifiable style of football that, you can be proud of. And I think Pep and Klopp certainly do. And I think to a certain extent, Tuchel does as well. So, of course I would. The interesting thing is how far down the league you would go for the type of manager you would like at Manchester United. So, no, of course, Manchester United with Klopp and Salah and the team that they've got now would win the league. You take Pep to Manchester United, I think, you know what, only a few weeks ago I was saying I don't think these managers could win the league without a midfielder. But actually, the quality we've got and how far short we are falling at the moment, of course they would expect to be title contenders. So look, Solskjaer's got a massive job on his hands over the next few weeks. But it was just a very interesting insight into looking at, you know, what I was saying a year ago and actually being quite, what's the word? Quite disappointed to see what I was saying a year ago and then realising I'm basically saying it now. And that doesn't mean that it's, well, I said it a year ago, so he's got to go. It's more about, I said it a year ago and I'm saying it now. And that means we're standing still. Because this final chapter that we're waiting for, you know, if we'd gone on and won the Europa League final and then we brought the players in and we were at the top of the league now with 18 points, I'd be like, this is the final chapter I'm waiting for. But I feel like a year on, I'm saying the same things. You know, I'm saying the same things. And instead of it being Brendan Rodgers at Man United, who I hypothetically would take because he's got a good style of football, etc., I'm saying the same things again. I'm also saying I'm waiting for this final chapter from Ollie. I'm waiting for him to, you know, deliver beyond second or third or a cup final. I'm waiting for him to deliver a proper title challenge and a proper trophy. And I think, you know what, between now and Christmas, again, I think I'm saying the same things again. Let's see what happens between now and Christmas. On the title race itself, as I said, very, very interesting. It's still relatively tight at the top of the Premier League. You know, the Brightons are hanging around. Arsenal fancy the chance, you know, Spurs and everyone like that. But the reality is, I think it's very clear that Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea, I mean, Chelsea, you know, 1-1, they go and win it 3-1. Liverpool not getting beaten by Man City, but Man City not getting beaten by Liverpool either. It just prolongs what's looking like it's going to be a very exciting title race, and consistency is going to be key. And I think in the early stages, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City look like they're going to be the consistent teams that win most weeks, and therefore they're going to start to pull away. Can United stay with them? Will United get pulled into something behind them with the Arsenals and the Tottenhams and the Brightons and the West Hams? We'll have to wait and see. What will happen with Solskjaer, we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it looks to me like Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea are going to have a very interesting title race. Look, and I don't want it to be a two-horse... I don't want it to be a one-horse race. Not massively interested in a two-horse race. I'd love it to be a four-horse race, but three-horse race is better than two. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But look, you know what? Does an Arsenal fan sit there and go, if I offered Jurgen Klopp to Arsenal, you'd take him? You know, of course you would. Spurs would take him. Why, as a Man United fan, would I not want that level of a manager at Manchester United or a Mo Salah at Manchester United? It's not in any way saying I want Solskjaer sacked, and it's not in any way saying that I think Salah's better than Greenwood or anything like that. I mean, obviously he probably is. But what it is saying is that the thing I crave at Manchester United, and I think other clubs crave who aren't at the top of the table in relation to title contenders, is I do want winning mentality. I do want good football, and I do want that consistency. And I think Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, Thomas Tuchel's now providing it as well, and the players within those teams are providing that. That's what Solskjaer needs to deliver. That's why that's how you rub out that question mark above your head and stop United fans or Arsenal fans saying, you know, that's the type of manager I wish I had at my club. I wish I had that sort of Jurgen Klopp at my club, that Mo Salah at my club, because those players, you know, unfortunately, the Ronaldos, the Marcus Rashfords, the Paul Pogbas, the Bruno Fernandes, as good as I think that they would be in a Liverpool team or a Man City side, in a United side, they're not delivering that consistency that a Salah does, that a Mane does, that a De Bruyne does. And, you know, does that come down to the coaching they get and the mentality they get? You know, there's a winning mentality with a very good style of football that breeds consistency. And, you know, that is the thing that Solskjaer needs to do. Can he do it? We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. If you want to check out what I said a year ago, I've dropped that link in the video description as well. But also check out Top 11. Brilliant game. Fantastic to play, especially on the international break. Download it. Give it a go. Top 11 in the link in the video description. I'll speak to you all soon.